All right, so these are the three solutions you should have had for those three problems. The first one, 21r squared because there are two r's, minus 24, oop, I missed the r. Check your work, make sure it matches this. And then the next one, 12x to the fourth power, because there's two x's here and here. Plus 14x to the third power, and then minus 24x squared, x to the second power. And the last one here, 32r to the fourth power, minus 40r to the third power, plus 56r squared. If you have any questions, please ask now. The next section is going to be a little bit more complicated. Obviously, the problems get a little bit bigger, and there's more things inside the parentheses, and there are two sets of parentheses. So, each one of these is called a binomial because there are two parts of the polynomial. Remember, two terms mean binomial. So when you're multiplying two polynomials, you're going to multiply each term in the first factor by each term in the other factor. Now, you're still distributing, and then you're going to combine like terms. So once you're done multiplying, you need to check and see if there's anything you can put together that look alike. So we're kind of doing a little bit of new stuff and then attaching the stuff that we did last week as well. So the first example here, I have 7x plus 2 times 5x plus 1. So I'm going to take this first term, 7x, and I'm going to multiply by each term over here. Remember back whenever you were younger and you learned how to multiply two-digit numbers together? Let me just show you an example. It's like if I had 32 times 47, I would first multiply 7 times 2, and then 7 times 3, and then I would put a placeholder, then multiply 4 times 2 and 4 times 3. We're kind of doing that, but we're doing it this way, where I'm taking the 3, multiplying it by this, and then the 2, multiplying it by each one, and then we add as necessary. So here is kind of similar to that. So I'm going to take this 7x first, and I'm going to multiply by the 5x over here and the 1, okay? So 7x times 5x is 35x to the power of 2. 7 times 5 is 35, x times x is x squared. Then I'm going to multiply 7x times 1. Well, anything times 1 is itself, so just plus 7x. Alright, once you have multiplied the first one by everything in the second one, you're done with that first term. And now you're going to take the second term, positive 2, and you're going to multiply by everything again in the second parentheses. So 2 times 5x will be a positive 10x, and 2 times 1 is a positive 2. And you're done with that. So now you're finished multiplying. I know I'm done because I had 2 things times 2 things, and 2 times 2 is 4. Notice here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 products. But we have to keep going because in this right here, I see like terms. Hopefully you kind of see it right here. These two have an x next to it, so I'm going to combine those. So I still have 35x squared, because there's no other x squared. 7 and 10 makes 17, and don't forget to attach the x next to that, plus 2. So my final answer is 35x squared plus 17x plus 2. Just below that, I have 4n plus 4 times 5n minus 8. So I'm going to take this 4n and multiply 4n times 5n and times negative 8. Be very careful with this one because that's a negative 8, not a positive 8. 4n times 5n. 4 times 5 is 20. N times n is n squared. Then 4n times negative 8 is going to be a negative 32n. Because 4 times negative 8 is negative 32. Attach the n. You're done with that one. Now take your positive 4 and multiply it times 5n first, which would be a positive 20n. And then 4 times negative 8 is a negative 32. Again, check for like terms. I don't see any other n squareds, so I'm going to write 20n squared. I do have two terms here with the letter n next to it, so I'm going to type in negative 32 plus 20 in my calculator. If I type in negative 32 plus 20, it should give me a negative 12n. And then minus 32, I'm just going to write down because there are not any like terms with negative 32. So here's my final answer, 20n squared minus 12n minus 32. Alright, the second section here, we're going to do the same process. I'm going to take everything in the first set of parentheses and multiply by everything in the second set of parentheses. So first I have x times x squared. There's no coefficient to multiply, that's 2 x's being multiplied, so that's x to the power of 2. Then x times negative 7, negative 7x. Negative 1 times x, negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 7, be careful, remember that's a negative 1 and a negative 7 being multiplied, so that's going to be a positive